our morning rounds, the power of the eye. Power of the eye. One of the eye. One of the power of the eye. Power of the eye. One of the power of the eye. One of the world's leading law.
You've noticed the CBS logo is an all-seeing eye, right? You know, kind of like the one at the top of our dollar bill, and kind of like the one they sometimes put at the top of a Freemason logo. Freemasons who are all Luciferians that worship the fallen angels, and a third of God's angels fell, so 33, they love that number because it's a third, 0.33333, and you should keep that number in mind. But let's take a look at some of these other mainstream TV logos and see if they have anything that might seem suspicious or truth in plain sight. Let's start with the easy ones. The CW. A C is the third letter in the alphabet, so 3, and you can see that looks like a 3, right? You just turn that W here, and then you got 3. Piece of cake. ABC, nothing wrong there. A is the first letter of the alphabet. B is the second. So 1 plus 2 is 3, so 3 again in the ABC logo. But Fox, that doesn't spell anything, except, you know, if you organize the numbers across and then the letters across, and look at that. FOX just happened to fall in the 6th column for 666. And it's also in English gematria because F is 6 and 0 is 60 and X is 600. So you get 666. Must be a coincidence. So we have 666 and 33 and 33 in the all-seeing eye. But NBC, I don't see anything there. I mean, it's just a pretty peacock logo and you can't do anything with those letters. Well, are you sure about that? Are you sure that if you don't take a closer look at a peacock, you won't see a whole bunch of all-seeing eyes? Kind of looks like an all-seeing eye to me, but that's not all I got. Not by a long shot. Because you see, the peacock in occult traditions represents immortality, renewal, wisdom, and alchemical process transformation. But I'm more interested in that immortality thing. You know, kind of like I keep saying, the reason they fake their death is because they live a lot longer than you and I, and they go from this to hide suspicion of not dying. And you know where they rub that right in our face? And I'm not just talking about here on the Tell Lies Vision. No, the Vatican. I say that so it doesn't get censored quietly. Just happens to have 2 peacocks right next to their pine cone representing the pineal gland, otherwise known as your third eye. There's something funny about their little pine cone holding pot here, though. Let's take a closer look. The head's removed. All the other heads are there, but just this one. I wonder why. I wonder if there's something in that head that would let us know who that was. And you've seen the Vatican pictures, right, of how it literally looks like a snake, you know, kind of like the one talked about in the Garden of Eden. Oh, you know what else they have too? Oh, no big deal, just an advanced telescope called Lucifer. So now getting back to this headless man, I wonder if maybe that's Lucifer, and maybe they don't want us to know what he looks like. I wonder if Jim Carrey has anything to tell us about this.
For this Halloween, I've decided to be a bit of a hybrid. I call this Helvis.
He's a hybrid, combining Elvis and the devil. Huh, that's strange. And he's a hybrid with horns. Do you ever see the supposed statue of Moses? You notice anything? How about now? Sure, that's Moses. And did you ever see this painting that the man himself hung in the White House? Strange thing to have in a self-portrait. And strange placement of that M. And strange how the Statue of Liberty looks an awful lot like a painting of Lucifer, but not just a painting. And strange how the original Statue of Liberty face just looks exactly like Elvis. Exactly like Elvis. Or should I say Helvis? And remember back to when I said they fake this and become this because they don't die. Well, do you see who matches up there? Helvis and the guy who depicts himself with horns and who lived on the 66th floor. And I've done 20 videos. Check those out if you think I'm crazy. And check out my vampire videos if you really think they still don't fake their deaths, because they can literally get younger. That's not Kim. That's not Kim Kardashian. That's Chris, who now looks like that. A brain, bro. It's called a brain. rhymes with it. But getting back to the way beginning, I'm sure all these logos are just perfectly innocent, and I'm reaching like I always do. There's no hidden agenda to mind control you and make you a slave to these vampires that never die. Definitely not. There's definitely not one to hide God from you either by telling you you're a chimp living on a spinning ball, hurling through endless, never, ever, always expanding space. You live in a enclosed, stationary, flat, created by a divine heavenly father realm, people, not a ball. Entertainment only, though. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.